Because this time, whenever I'm shooting people here,
First, you would. All right, all right, all right, all right.
Was like I figured if I couldn't see your face in the Google Meet, I'd just watch the live stream too.
Oh my God. So it is. What's going on, everybody? It is the first episode of the podcast. I'm host AJ, and we're gonna get into a little bit about the nitty gritty about the scene. But before I do, I want to introduce the most handsome ass motherfucker that we got on the stream right now. He is a player, a father, and the founder of the CSL, otherwise known as the Competitive Speedsoft League. You know him as my man Keegan. Introduce yourself, bro. What's up? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How's it going, everybody? Like AJ said, my name is Keegan. I am the founder and organizer for the CSL, along with many other things. Wear a ton of different hats. But yeah, man, shit,
Shit, dude.
catching up to me too.
Dude, so like you've been in the scene for what, like a few years now, or like after COVID, or
This is year 5.
year
So,
five?
like,
Okay. So
yeah.
did you always play Speedsoft, or were you just kind of rec, kind of like mixing it up a little bit? Were you, what dragged you into the
Nah.
hobby?
The story's kind of crazy. Like I really hit the ground running.
Really?
I had a couple of friends that knew a manager at a field, and he invited us out to play. Jesus, it's late in the day for me. Um, yeah, and then just kind of went out, played, used some of his gear, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come back. Definitely came back, and then I kid you not, within the first, I mean, I'm an adult, so
Right, right,
within
right.
the first like 6 or 7 months, I think I bought my first Polar Star, and I had a Fusion engine. But I was just doing rec games. It wasn't until, I don't know, maybe a year and a half into playing airsoft where I found SpeedQB. Drove down to Georgia, played at SS
Oh
in one
shit.
of their SpeedQB practices, and I was like, "Yup, I can do this."
Okay. And you got into it. When was this? Like 2019, right?
Yeah,
In 2019, and you're playing. COVID hits, tragedy. You can't play for like what, several months. Come back into it.
dude.
Were you at that time wanting to make your own league, or were you waiting on SpeedQB at the time to try and come back to SS?
Not like so. That practice I went to was in 2018, like early 2018, and I
Gotcha.
believe
Damn.
at that point I was already trying. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember watching the live stream for SpeedQB in 2019,
Okay.
at TAC, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had already started organizing some like Speedsoft nights at my local field since I was working there too, and I ran my first 2 events in 2019, and then man, 2020, I was already planning to have events at 3 different fields,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
yeah, like COVID hit and I put a bunch of postponed stuff, and I was like, oh, we'll be out of this pretty quick, like everyone else fucking thought, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks, 2 weeks. And then lo and
Jeez.
behold, like canceled everything. And it wasn't until the end of yo, what's up, Caber? Hold on.
Caver.
I'm gonna put a quick pause for a second.
Go for it. Go for
So when I came out to Cali last, I had this idea that I needed to look really professional, and I cut my hair.
it.
And I met Caber, and Caber was like, damn, man, like, why'd you cut your hair? Like, it was the best thing. Like, the only person like that doesn't look like super professional. You got like the long hair going. It was just a whole vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah,
And
dude.
yeah, I've been growing my hair out for the last 2 years, and I actually just shaved the sides because I was getting irritated with it. But anyways, enough of that
It's
sidebar.
looking
Thank you,
good.
Caber. But yeah, at the end of 2020, I partnered with the soon-to-be Murder Inc. guys on the East Coast
Right.
to do an event in New Jersey, and that's the first event I really played in,
Okay.
like where we actually had teams. It was the first event that the team I started, TSA or True Stars, competed in, and yeah, it was also like the beginning of the rivalry that that TSA and Murder Inc. had
Right.
on the East Coast too.
Yeah, I remember seeing that when I went over to Rhode Island in 2022. You guys were like at the top two finalists for that event. I think it was like a
Yeah.
SpeakQB event, and it's just crazy seeing the level of competitiveness that you guys strive out there in the East Coast. Like your experience so far, how I guess what were the challenges as an organizer and as a player on the East Coast like? Because I feel like in the country,
Challenges.
yeah, like there's always challenges of like, you got to deal with the low player base, or you got to deal with other players, or you got to deal with trying to get a decent field and just
Yeah.
scheduling, all that stuff, right? Especially after COVID, because everyone's still trying to adapt back to normal society. We are still kind of restricted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Places are only closing. Places are still kind of letting people in, limited amounts, right? So I felt like maybe end of 2021, early 2022, we can actually get back into these events. But I
Yeah.
mean, now that from then to now, what changes have you seen, and what do you feel more confident in?
God. I feel God confidence. This year's weird. All right, so let's put this year aside.
All right. Yeah.
'Cause I think it's been weird for almost everybody. But in terms of confidence for the East Coast, there there's a lot of love for the East Coast on the East Coast. Like we're very tight knit for the most part. A lot of us talk to each other, or at least from what I see and what I'm a part of, we talk to each other a lot. And like when push comes to shove, if we really need to show out for something, we do, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, prime example, I played in NSL for the first time in May, and you know, I talked to a couple of people, and they tier six is the team that ended up bringing me on, and were happy to have me because I don't really get to play. They weren't the only people to ask either,
Right.
um, but it was just that sort of camaraderie type stuff where it's like, yeah, dude, if you want to come roll with somebody, by all means, come out. We'll support you
Yep.
and get you with the team, which was really nice. You know, for this year, it definitely seems like the beginning of it was really slow. And then moving into the second half of the year, things seem to be picking up a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
like the Mid Atlantic and Northeast definitely seems to be picking up a little bit more. And the Southeast is having a little bit of trouble. It's actually just down there this past weekend
Yeah.
hosting a clinic because it's like it's stuff like that we need, especially on the East Coast. We don't have a ton of people. Like for the West, it always feels like a team dies and another one is coming out of the woodwork. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas for here, if we lose one, we feel it. We really feel it. And there's players that you would think are always going to be around, and then they're just not. And you're like, damn, what the fuck happened? But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's what I always liked about the East Coast. You guys, especially organizing where SpeakQB couldn't be at, or other leagues, right?
mm-hmm.
It's like, it's up to you guys as a community to bring that back, to the players, to the people, everything. And I think
Yeah.
that's what kind of sets you guys different from the West Coast, because the West Coast is already, I know Sapo says this a lot, but the SoCal scene is the mecca of the Speedsoft scene, and it seems like it's already been established even before COVID. We were able to bounce back up just a little bit after coming back from lockdown, but you guys were able to adapt. You guys were able to make it work. You guys
Yeah.
were able to build that community and show newer teams, newer players, whoever, just to see what you guys were all about, see what the whole scene is about as a whole. And it's insane just to see. It's so crazy how everything's changed in the last few years. It's nice. um
Yeah.
and I'm just
I mean, it's like, for us over here, the phrase "beggars can't be choosers"
mhm.
applies way too often.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
um, the, the fields that I originally were going to, I was going to out of necessity.
Right. Right.
Like prime example, Jacob. I know you're in there. You can attest to this as well. Our home field is just under like 4,500 square feet.
Wow.
So if you don't know what that means in terms of like length and width, it's about 75 by 50, something like that.
Right.
It's not even a full length field for any tournament format.
Right.
And that was the primary field. That was the home of the CSL for, 2 or 3 years. So, after things have started to pick up, it's been a little bit easier to, kind of go to different places and people start really dedicating some time. Lenny, Danielle, if you guys ever see this, thank you so much for what you've done for the East Coast, because they have put, tournament airsoft in a new light.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It's always nice to have some support along the way. I think that's one of the most important things is if you have a community, especially, like field owners, staff that is always willing to be supportive, you can see a community grow and stay strong, Now, I kind of want to segue just a little bit here. I did want to ask you, you got into the hobby just because you were introduced to it by a few friends. I wanted to say I got into the hobby because I saw a few fight videos with my friends.
Really?
Yes,
All right.
I saw a few airsoft fight videos. Now, ever since then, I was like, oh shit, what is that guy using? And then the guy gets beat over the head with it or whatever it might be. I got back into it with my friend Alger, got into the hobby and got into speed eventually. Did you ever watch any fight videos when you first started out?
Of course. Like, who doesn't see them?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
you were in my patch, and all the iconic videos. I watched all of them. I went through all the phases. Like,
oh man,
when I first started playing, I had a helmet and a metal mesh lower.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yes, I was watching Storm at the time, Storm Airsoft.
That's right.
And I painted the fucking white teeth on my shit too. I was like, yeah, like, this is me. This is who I am. And then, god damn, man, someone sent me a picture of that not that long ago. And I was like, yeah, we're never doing that again.
Dude, it's so weird because I play at the infamous Game Pod field sometimes where the guy's like, no photo on the buildings. Dude, I didn't realize it was that bad until I went on a random Saturday. And by that time, I was playing on Fridays. And then you could see just people getting up in each other's faces. The refs at the time were more stricter. And they were getting up into players' faces too. Not on my field. Don't dry fire and staging. Get out now. I don't mind. We'll warn you again. Whatever it might be. It's fucking insane. But everything's more tame. Like either that or it's like how to avoid that and get around that and just not deal with it, right? Nowadays, it's just like, all right, I've seen it many times before. I know how this is going to end. I'm going to ignore it or I'm going to let the ref know, like, hey, this guy's like has a shenanigans going on again. But
yeah, I mean, you had touched on it too. Like, we're both older now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't got time for this shit either. Like, my body hurts. If I waste energy on this, that means I'm not playing for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I'm going to wake up sore tomorrow. Like, I'm good.
Now, have you seen any fights happen on when you had any events going on? Like physical or just verbal?
I mean, early on, like, there was some chirping here and there.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I run a pretty tight ship. I have a very low tolerance for the bullshit. So there's never been a fight, knock on wood. There's never been a fight at any of the events. It's just a little bit of chirping here and there. But even then, I don't let people get carried away with that. Just because actually, when I was in California and we were at True Aim, there was, two players that were really going at it. And it was to the point where, it was either they needed to be gone,
right,
or they were going to be kicked from the field in general.
Right. I remember that. I remember hearing about it. I forgot what happened. I think I was at work that day. And I think there was a stream. Was there a stream? And I remember watching like bits of it here and there. And I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, that would have never happened if I was there. No, but it's crazy to see. It's crazy to see because, like, everyone knows better. Everyone's a grown ass man, like majority of the players, obviously. But Scotty from
damn Caber, I wasn't trying to say any names or nothing, but
But yeah, like a lot of the players from back then, they've all moved on. So now we have like some of the OGs, kind of like with you guys. It's True Stars, right, and then Murder Inc. And then maybe like a few other people here and there that's still trickling around. But yeah, no, this year has been pretty weird in general. Let's get into a little bit about that because I know this is what the whole podcast was about. Basically, just
Yeah.
kind of talking about what is going on in the scene, dude. It's weird, and
Hmm.
I can't say. Oh man, there's just so much stuff. Like I don't see it in NorCal. I've been seeing it in SoCal, and I've been seeing a little bit in East Coast. And I know you had some stuff on your mind too. Why don't you share with us a little bit about what's going on with you guys?
So, I mean, this all came about from watching your last like Chillsoft episode, right?
Right, right, right.
And yeah, like after seeing how Speaky B was in a bit of a rough spot over there, it really made me think about stuff over here. And
Mhm.
I had to cancel event in Florida because I mean I don't mind sharing the number. I had a whole two teams signed up for the event, so it was like I can't fly down in hopes that maybe I get another two teams. Like it's got to go.
Yeah,
I can't. It's too much money out of my pocket to host an event, so we canceled it.
I don't blame you.
Um,
I don't blame you. That's
I mean, even go ahead.
Oh no, no, go for it, go for it, go for
Uh,
it.
even when we were in Texas, we had five teams, and like some of it is attributed to NSL, and
mm.
I think
Do you feel
I
like
mean that's
more teams are focused on the actual NSL league than other leagues that in general?
um yes and no. So like there's two parts to at least the East Coast part of it. Like in our area, like my area specifically in the DMV around Maryland and Virginia,
Right.
uh, we've had fields that have been coming and going. Like in the last 3 years, I believe four fields have gone under,
Wow.
and it sucks because two of them I was hosting events at, and it just left a huge void where now no one can go anywhere to compete, especially with fields like CIA in the south and then Extreme in the north. We've been so accustomed to having a full length field
Right.
to now going to like three quarters or half that size in order to play. It's not the same. Like yeah, sure, you're getting reps, but it's not one to one, even not even close to making the comparison.
Yeah,
So
dude.
having events for me, I've had no choice but to go a little bit further away.
Yeah.
And the teams that are here, and I understand it, you can either make the choice of flying to Texas and Florida,
Mm-hmm.
or you can drive up to Rhode Island. It's only like 7 or 8 hours. It's not that bad.
Right.
Some
Right.
people do fly, but even then it's like it's way cheaper than trying to fly to Texas and stay down in Tampa you
Right.
know
Right. I mean, you're able to bring all your stuff with you instead of dealing with the
hmm
TSA trying to get your stuff and gear across.
yeah.
That was always my concerns too. And that's unfortunate because we do see that here in NorCal. We had some conflict with like the field owner and the organizers um, at our recent Sac County field, of course, with
hmm
SpeakyB and other and Syndicate. Um, and recently, we finally got SpeakyB back after like what 2 years, thanks to Adam and I think a few other players like Andy, not the field
Yep.
owners, but other players that are associated or that might work with the field owner. Um, we had one event successful, and then we're supposed to have one in June and July. Both were canceled for the same reasons: low player base, low turnout, and even the same thing. They mentioned like, hey, we only had like 2 or 3 teams register, and
hmm
out of the 6 or the 8 that we've had in NorCal, they're way too focused. I feel like on the NSL, which isn't a bad thing, right? Everyone should be able to play what they want, but it's unfortunate when we have a league that pretty much has a season spread out throughout the year, and then it's almost like every month, whether it's an official event or a mini event, like a sub
Yeah.
event in between, that takes up the time and interest from other players, and it leaves out the other leagues in our area pretty much high and dry. We were supposed to have an event this Saturday, like as I mentioned, and now we got word in the chat. Well, the rumor is most likely it's going to be canceled because now you see the chat that Roy had put
hmm
together for the teams in NorCal, and then you got teams that are like not responding or not sure if they're able to register. We just had an NSL event over this past weekend. So it's like, fuck, you know, it's also gonna
Yeah.
put a damper on some plans and everything. So I feel bad for Roy, and I know he's gonna have to make that decision. Like, well, it's not worth driving out there. I'm gonna have to just cancel it. But
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
it's rough, and I do get it. I really do. I understand from the player's perspective what you got to do, and if it's easier, I mean, airsofters in general are going to want to do what's easier, not what's harder, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to go do what's more consistent. I will say one major downfall for SpeedQB, and Roy, if you see this, my man, like some future planning is going to help a lot. Being able to put out a schedule
Mm-hmm.
a few months in advance so people can, actually plan to go to those events. And that was my biggest gripe last year. Like I was waiting for Roy to come back to the East Coast and then go compete. And when I did, like we had 4 teams at the event, and I ran with a ragtag group of dudes. I shit you not. Wavy, you're my man. He was already in Rhode Island for work. He
Yeah.
had literally no gun.
Yeah.
Showed up to the field, borrowed some stuff, bought a SpeedQB chest rig and pants at the field so he could play for the weekend. Like that's the type of team we had.
That's dedication, dude. I think those are the best like moments when you can
Yeah.
just randomly get a team together. I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna get this gear. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
for the boys.
It was a lot of fun. Like we ended up running with Scotto and Sosa,
Oh
and
man, okay.
my buddy Carlos played with us too, and it was a lot of fun. Like I don't know Sosa from out of town. Like obviously I don't
Right.
talk to this dude, but
Right.
it was cool because he started playing with us. And I was like, yo, he's just as introverted as I am.
Yeah.
So he was crazy, and he started to open up towards the end of the day. But yeah, that whole event was wild.
Oh
It was
man.
super wild.
And so,
Yeah, man.
and it's like, we have all these events. They're super fun, and you want to continue them. And I've known some people kind of experience burnout. Some people
Yeah.
are just, trying to deal with that too, especially with the consistency that NSL provides. People are, going to practices and going to, all these other things to prep for the events. But I've seen burnout. I've seen people just not take it as fun anymore. Like they're taking it way too seriously. And just kind of seeing that, it brings a whole different environment to the game, right?
Yeah.
As I talked about on my last stream, we seen, some unfortunate events happen at the last few SpeedQB events in SoCal, mainly, and focusing around that because it seems like they have the biggest events for everyone that's listening right now. Yeah, and it seems like, so the main things, there's a bunch of inconsistencies within the scene right now, like ego, shrugging, just verbal arguments, and I think at one point there was some physical altercations that have occurred, but these are just things that people have brought to my attention that have told me from their experience. I haven't really seen it myself, but I know the vibe. Anytime you go to SoCal, I don't know if you have to compete,
Not yet.
but the vibe is always just so tense, dude. The last time I went
Yeah.
out there with Scotto in October, it's just like teams are just so focused on winning. Everything's so tense. Everyone's just angry at one another, especially on the second day. Everyone's just like, get out, no you, and it's just like, it just gets ridiculous. Like, all right, dude, like we're not playing for money here. We're playing, just for the fun of it. And it's like these people go so crazy for bragging rights in the end, right?
Yeah.
And some people have this mentality like, yeah, I'm a pro airsofter. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. It's insane. Fucking A. It's like, I just want to know. I mean, yeah, we could do accountability, but I always feel like it's like a double-edged sword because of how low of a player base we have, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things that we can do. Like if we were to ban somebody or an individual, what's to say that team, maybe out of the 6 in that region, one team's out and you only got 5, and maybe another team would say, well, it's not worth it if it's only 5 people. Then it'll just dwindle down to 4, and then it will just subtly drop little by little. So then the organizers will have to cancel it and so on and so forth. But it's insane. It's crazy.
So, I actually I commented on Valiant's
The
video
recent
he put
video.
on Instagram. Yeah. and
Oh, dude.
it was in response to Figgy, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't want to get names mixed up. I don't know y'all well enough,
No,
but
I think he was. I just saw that video recently too.
yeah, but it was just, people. I think Figgy was saying like, if you get caught twice and you get hit with the third one, you should be gone. And
Yep.
I just put it out there. We have 4. That's it for the CSL. It's not individual players per team.
Yep. Yep.
If you get 4 penalties for your team, you're DQ'd.
Yep.
Period. That's it. You're out. You're done. No points put towards leaderboards. None of that. You're just done. And then, the one thing that we do is if it happens once, like we'll say something to the team, like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it was just a bad day for you guys. Whatever it may be, but like it can't be a thing. If it happens again, it's now, all right, you need to figure out what's wrong with your team. And until you figure that out, you guys can't play for the season. We can reevaluate for the next one."
Right.
Um,
I have seen some of the behavior that has been corrected in Australia. Out of all
Yeah.
places, I've seen that. Shout out to the Midnight Kendo boys out there. I know you guys might be watching casually, but if you're sleeping, hey, good morning. Yeah, no, I remember, what was it, the 2021 season or like the first half of the 2022 season, they made an announcement, I think at one of the fields, they said like, hey, due to the behavior and unprofessionalism, held by certain players and teams, we are no longer going to host this season until midsummer or the end of the year or something along those lines. And I was just like, oh shit. They're on it. They're really going to try to, hold some accountability. And it's like, damn, I asked one of them, one of the Midnight Kendo boys, they said that, yeah, it's just getting out of hand. We need to kind of circle back and kind of talk about it as a community and just, hope for the best that this will kind of settle, things. I haven't seen them compete as much. I don't know if there's more regulations in Australia now against gel ball, but yeah, maybe we could try to implement some stuff like that. Maybe, have the community take a step back, like, hey, relax. All right, simmer down. It's not that crazy. All right, just sit down, put you on timeout maybe, and just, come back. That's like, damn.
So there's a few people in the chat here saying some stuff. To the tacos guys, I do agree. The event allows that behavior. The players will act that way. I do agree to an extent. So, like, yeah, like if there is no rule against shrugging with significant, punishment, then
Right.
It's going to keep on happening.
Right.
With that being said, NSL has a penalty system, and you cannot be DQ'd within that system. And what's crazy, if you go back and you watch, there's a lot of teams that get a lot of penalties called on them. And I'm not talking about, your second degrees. We're talking about first degree penalties for no hit calling.
Right.
And like, yes, there is a punishment or consequences for it, but you can keep on doing that. And it ramps up, the later in the day or the later in the event that you get to. Now, I'm not saying that the CSL is the answer to all this, because clearly it's not.
Right.
But there does need to be a ginormous shift in the culture for all platforms.
Oh, yeah.
All formats.
Oh, yeah.
The accountability definitely needs to be there for players, but I think it needs to go further than just the hit calling. Right. I think when it comes to how events are organized, the accountability needs to be put onto the players a little bit more. Like, a lot of people want to talk about it becoming more professional in that sense. And, it's like, if you go to an NXL event for paintball, right, it's the most relatable. Right. Do you see them doing a fucking briefing at the beginning of their event? No. They show up. They know what they need to do. They know their rules.
Yep.
They go play.
Yep.
That's it. And, airsofters at the moment are being babied a lot.
Yeah.
In the competitive.
Oh, yeah.
Lot.
Dude.
We cater to you because at the moment we kind of need to, but, I have slowly been phasing that shit out just because you see it. You definitely see it. Who else had something? Trying to.
I get it too. It's like you want to have. I seen like. I'm not trying to call out anybody or specifically, but I know Roy.
Yep.
He loves being laid back, and I can see that working with, smaller community like NorCal. NorCal. I remember he had an event early 2022, and everyone was just super chill. We mixed the teams, and I think it was like 6 teams, like very small, very small. And I feel like we didn't know what to expect. We all came together. We all chilled. We had a barbecue. It was great. But that that mentality that a lot of players have nowadays is like, okay, this event's going to be super chill. I know the refs aren't really going to call it because they just hired a guy just randomly off the Tax City staff or whatever it might be. So I probably could get away with like a few shrugging things here and there, but that's that mentality that people have. It's like we are just going to be laid back and whatever happens happens. Someone yells at me, I'm going to clap back at them. It's like, whoa. It's like, damn, relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tax City. I don't know, for whatever reason, it's super tense. People just shout bye and just say get out, and just a lot of just ego just being thrown around. It's insane, dude.
I feel like Tax in a very interesting location in general.
Right.
And I think the fact that SpeakUB was kind of born there has a lot to do with it.
Right.
I feel like it's, at least for the West Coast, I feel like it is the proving grounds, right?
Right.
And people don't want to be put out or showed up on that setting. Now I'm gonna say something that a lot of people on the West Coast probably won't like or agree with. Yes,
Go for
Tax City and SpeakUB may have started on the West Coast, but it is not the Mecca. There is a lot of people, not just on the East Coast, but across the seas that have done a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I would 100% say that the West Coast has been upstaged since SpeakUB has started.
Oh yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think people could just have that mentality like, oh yeah, we started it and it's just gonna be like that forever. But as you said, dude, Noobsoft in Taiwan.
Yeah,
dude, I love you, Noob. If
the
you're watching
homie.
this, I gotta get you on the podcast soon. No, but have you seen his videos? He's creating everything out there for that community, and it seems to be working so well. Everyone's pretty respectful. I know he's talked to John from Syndicate just to get a few ideas just to kind of implement into his next league. And it seems like, I don't know if it's just like smaller community is easier to just kind of work with, not control, but work with or whatever. And you got Europeans doing NSL, or was that one guy's name, the French guy, Theo Griswold? He's doing
Asking the wrong dude.
the French guy. He's doing the FCC. It's like the 1v1s, and it's like people from like multiple countries coming together just to play, and they actually win actual money for those events, which is crazy. But yeah, it's so nice to see all the changes, everyone working hard all over the world. And it's not just the West Coast anymore, or SoCal more specifically. It's now everyone and their mama. Yeah, we got influence most likely from SoCal, but everyone's doing it their own way and doing it better. That works for them.
Yeah.
Vinci. Oh yeah.
So, I mean, that this is not a bragging thing either, but I've been giving out money since day one.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a lot of money.
Right.
But I've been giving out money.
Yeah.
No, but like, that stuff for next year, right? Anyone on the West Coast, I plan on coming back to you guys next year, 3 times actually.
Ooh.
Once at Project N1, twice at Sac County, and depending on how things go, I would like to give $1,000 for first place at that 3rd event,
right?
And do the same thing over here, but I don't want to just have, this has been my dream too.
Right.
I don't want to just have, the West Coast doing their thing, the East Coast doing their thing. I really want to have a true national championship. I want to have teams that have proven themselves on either side actually fighting for the national title. And next year, that's what I plan on doing.
Oh, yeah.
So if you guys are looking to get into something that means just a little bit more, in my opinion, next year is going to be the year to do it.
Hell yeah.
So
Hell yeah. See,
definitely come out.
and that's what I like to hear, because it's inspiring to the point that it wants me to get out and play again, dude. I want to get out there and actually, that's why I started in the first place, because I see all this competition. I see, the community, the growth, just everyone battling it out. And it's unfortunate now because we had so many teams, at least like over 20 teams in NorCal at one point. And now it's dwindled down to like the common 4 or 5 or whatever it is now. So it's
Thank you, Caber.
My company will throw a few hundred in that. Oh, damn. Okay, Caber. But yeah, I think I think we gotta do some moves, because everyone's treating it like they're the best. They're doing this and that. Man, I was gonna make a video on it, but it's such a hassle to animate every little frame. But yeah, dude, no, it's I think another thing too is the economy. And I think I've heard a lot of discourse from players, like for example, NSL is charging like what is it now? Like $700 to $800 for an event.
Yeah.
It's pretty up there. It's insane. It's insane. So I know that kind of discourages some newer players, especially to register. Are you guys, you guys are still below that, right?
Yeah. Right now we have 500 per event. I mean, even next year, I'm only looking at either 600 or 650.
Yeah.
But that again is to help fit the cost of going over to California and then also giving a cash prize.
Right.
I will say, NSL's price is super high.
Yeah.
That was one thing I wasn't a big fan of from the beginning. And I will say it is the least new player friendly. And I think having the high price is a good thing for it. I do think it forces a lot of people to create larger teams, which in the end, you kind of need it. I think it's a tad early just because the player base isn't big enough to support it.
Right.
But when you can have up to 12 people. And if you have 12 people, it's not that bad. Like it's less than $100 per person.
Right.
I mean, you still have all the other added costs like travel and board, but even then, like, I don't know.
I think they were just in their infant stages. I think a lot of things are still in the infancy within the scene. Looking at NSL's startup last year, they had a lot of players at Shot Zone and going into Rhode Island, coming to Sac County. But they learned from it. But every event that they held, it seemed like the player base was dwindling down just little by little until they had the championships, right? But then they learned from it, and then some things happened in the background. So now there's only 2 fields. And
So
now
I can talk on that just a little bit. I was fortunate enough when I played in the last event, I spoke with Aaron or Fives, as most people know,
right.
About everything, and we're actually in the same boat. Kind of, that's weird to say, but
Wow.
The struggles with how to run an event, to the player base itself, and then trying to make some money. For anyone out there, this is not my fucking job. I have a full-time job. I do this shit on the side.
Yep.
Does not pay any of my goddamn bills.
Yep.
Actually, I'm spending some of my own money in order to do this. But yeah, it's hard. Like for him, he has no choice but to fly here and stay an entire week. So he'll come and he'll do the East Coast one weekend and the West Coast before he goes all the way back home in Germany. It's a lot of fucking money to do that.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Right? So that's part of the admission, right? Damn, I forgot where I was going. I completely lost my train of thought.
It's all right. I'm pretty sure it'll come back to you. Do you have a favorite beer?
Of course. Of course I have a favorite beer.
What you drink?
I do not like what most people like. I like stouts in general.
Hey.
I think up until this point, my favorite stout has been called The Truth by Flying Dog Brewery. It's a brewery that's here on the East Coast.
Ooh.
And it's like 8.5. No, that's a lie. It's 12%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
it comes in a 4-pack. That should tell you enough.
Oh, dude, I love stouts. There's one called it's like a Spanish one out here in San Jose called
Okay.
Café con leche, just pretty much coffee and milk. Super fucking, and I think it is like 10% or 9%. It's dark.
It's good.
Super good. That's when I drink a lot of beer. Now I just drink mezcal and I just fuck up my liver even more. But it's just good. I'm drinking Pliny the Elder, which is Russian River Brewery. We have that in the West Coast. I went to Nevada recently, and I tried to go to Total Wine, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have that out here." What the fuck? That's a California thing. Get out of here.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
did that job
Faceless. I'm not ignoring you, my guy. I know you're in there. I know you want to, or you said Florence, South Carolina. Hit me up on Instagram, more specifically the CSL page on Instagram, and we can talk a little bit more. And that's actually a good question. So AJ, I'm curious to see what you have to say.
Yeah.
What do you think is required to grow the sport?
Man, I think it's gotta be. Man, there's so many things that you could do. Like, well, for one, try to I forgot who introduced this idea, but have a free session, a free 1 hour session. I don't know if Project N1 does that. I think they do that, right? If I'm not mistaken, 1 hour session, whether that's their regular nights or even just a speed night or whatever they have out there, and they can use I think they can try to offer a top-notch gun. And they can just kind of let players just do their thing. And if they want, they can get a coupon upon return. And hopefully they can just grow the sport that way. Just accountability, right? Just the normal things here and there. Just try to correct behaviors. So that way it doesn't discourage players. Camps, right? Having camps what do they call them? What do we call them?
Or a clinic?
Clinic. There you go. A clinic.
Yep.
Just to kind of get people out there, just anything in general, just to kind of bring attention to the hobby itself. But I think the pricing thing could definitely help because, we're living in some really weird times right now.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. You said the economy. Attaboy. Proud of you.
I said the word.
But yeah, it just comes back to the cost of everything, right? The economy, the cost of flying from Germany over here to do the events is really hard. And then for players that want to do NSL, you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to do. You either pick to invest in NSL or you can pick to choose SpeedQB and CSL.
Right.
Right now, SpeedQB, I believe, is still the cheapest of the 3 options. But at the same time, that's only for a 5-man group. And you have to pay for additional bodies.
Right.
So there's no good answer, if I charge more money, I'm risking there being a lower player base per event.
Right.
But if I lower the cost, I am now dipping into the very small profit margin that I have. So it makes it almost not worth it, especially right now. You had mentioned burnout too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm a pretty honest person.
Right.
Over the last year, I have been approaching very quickly the burnout stage of airsoft to the point where I have considered not running events anymore.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's really sad to even kind of say it because 5 years of my life would have been thrown down the drain if I were to stop right now.
Right.
And then at the same time, it's there would be no support on the East Coast. And I think that's another thing that kind of weighs on my mind a lot nowadays, where NSL is super invested in, Extreme and Sac County for money reasons. You need more people to be coming to your event. You're going to go to the places where those teams are going. But at the same time, you're also hurting the communities that you were serving previously.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So that's exactly why I wanted to go back down to CIA this year. It's exactly why I went to I held a clinic like you were speaking this past weekend
Right.
to help grow that player base. And it was nice to see people that weren't on teams coming out to learn at the clinic,
Yeah.
and even having the vet players there too. Like
Oh man.
we all have a bunch of valuable information, and sharing that is only going to promote growth in our sport. So
Oh yeah. Just little things, and it's like every field. I feel like because we're such a big country, like I remember I had a friend came over from the Netherlands, and he didn't realize how big the West Coast was because he thought we can go to Tax City in like a heartbeat from NorCal. Like, no, bro, no, what the no, but
Nah,
like
dude.
every region is different, and I feel like we have to kind of cater to its needs specifically to each person, community, and everything. So we have to work on it little by little, especially sponsors. So another big thing. I feel like there was also a recent shift with the sponsors too.
Preach.
Yeah, dude. I love everyone that I've worked with. I still work with Ben from Blowback Masters, and I work with all the guys from that are on Nepro, which were from the old Cubbysoft brand. But yeah, it just sponsors
Great
in general.
belts.
Yeah.
I ran one too.
Oh my gosh, there's so many great belts out there in gear. But yeah, no, it's just for me, burnout was just kind of like from the sponsors. I didn't hate them. It's just so much work and so much attention that was needed. And then it's like, you try your best and you want to just do what you can, but it's just a lot. It's a lot. And I was taking a break for a good moment as well. But yeah, I think sponsors coming into the scene, oh man, I felt like there was this weird thing that people thought like, oh yeah, they're sponsors. They got a barrier at this event or this field. They got the money. They got it. They can support us. It's not really the case. It's the reality of it is they're working just as hard as we are, just to try to make it by and try to support the community as best they can.
Airsoft doesn't make people money.
It doesn't. I don't know why people say there's pro airsofters. No, there's no.
Okay. You're triggering me. So anyone out there that calls himself a pro airsofter, I really don't care who you are. I'm looking into the camera because I want you to look into my eyes. Okay. Whether you are putting content on YouTube or what have you, you are a professional content creator. And that content just so happens to be airsoft. No one is paying you money to go play. And if they are, I would be highly surprised. Like, I would understand if someone's giving you gear and is like, hey, I'll pay for your admission so that way you can, record this gear.
Right.
Sure. Like at that point, and even then, it's still content.
Yeah.
You're being paid to make the content, not to go play. Like the only people that are getting paid to do stuff like that are people that are playing paintball. Fucking what's his name? Fedorov from Houston Heat's getting paid like $80K a year. It's crazy to go play paintball.
But that's the thing too. Yeah, it's like I didn't realize until like last year it was only a handful of pro paintballers that are getting paid that much. It's like a small minuscule amount. And I think I forgot what team recently dropped a player for not putting out the same amount of effort as the rest of his teammates, and they were only paying him $40K a year. $40K is crazy, dude. Like I could just work at the local grocery store, and that could be my fucking salary right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's insane. It's like people just want to have something to kind of hang on to, like a title or just whatever that might be, just to kind of make a name for themselves in the scene. No, I mean, I get it. Like you got all these sponsors, your team puts it all in your jerseys. You got jerseys and you wear it out on the rec field or whatever. But it's like you got to look at it from a wider perspective. It's not that big. Everyone's doing the same thing. We're just all in it for fun. We're just grown men playing with fucking toys. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, fucking when it comes to sponsors too, like
yeah,
the amount of sponsors does not show your validity.
Right.
Like
exactly. Like what?
God.
Like, have you had any success with sponsors that were working with you over the years?
I think the most success that I've had in terms of sponsorship has been with Quitski and Bloodthirsty, and it's simply because homie puts out a ton of content.
Dude.
Like it's a lot. It brings a lot of attention.
Yes.
Now, I would not say that is my most valuable sponsorship. My 100%. I don't care what nobody says. My homie JT, Take One Airsoft. Give him a look. He has been by far my biggest supporter from day one. He was like legit the only sponsor I had when we first started, and he has stayed with me, until today. And I'm super grateful for it. Like he hasn't tried to sponsor, as far as I know, JT, don't fuck around with me. But as far as I know, he hasn't tried to sponsor SpeakQB or NSL. He's been very faithful to us in the league, and I'm super grateful for that. But to add on to that too, like if you are on a team and you have a sponsorship, you should be looking to create those same sort of relationships with your sponsors, right?
Yep.
And you should be pretty clear with your expectation from that sponsorship. Like write up a proposal for these sponsors and put your resume on it, what your team has done, what events you've competed in, regardless if you've placed or not, and then tell them what you can do for them. Are you going to put out content? If you're going to put that you're putting content out for them, then actually create it. Don't fall short of it, because then that leads to other problems later on down the road. But like just like I want to hold players accountable, you need to hold your sponsors accountable too. You don't have to ask them for like $500 per event, but like, yo, like throw me a little bit extra change, or like give us some BBs if you freaking have BBs. Every little dime helps.
And that's what I always appreciate about JT and Ben and who is it, John from Full Auto. They are just the most chillest guys that I've ever seen. When I went to Rhode Island, just hanging out with everybody all in one space, I was just like, yeah, this is airsoft. This is why I came down here. This is fucking sick, and I wish I could do it again. I think it's important when people take on sponsors, they kind of see what they have to offer. I always wanted to make a video on that, but I never got down to it. Because like I've seen people, they see, the brands that are making it easier to grab sponsors. HK Army, or at the time was LA Kappa, before they had reorganized their entire structure of who was sponsored and who was not. But players would see that and they'd be like, oh yeah, let me hop on board. Okay, what I gotta do? Oh, just make a post on Instagram once a week. I bet. It's I don't know, man. I think everyone wants to be something sometimes without putting in the work, I've noticed. And we have to try and reconfigure the idea of what everyone contributes to the hobby itself and what we can do ourselves to try to sustain that balance. Right.
Yeah. Like
it's a lot. But
it is a lot. Shit's fucking tiring too.
I'm just talking about it, thinking about it.
Like it is. It's mad tiring. Yeah. I still face like the same sort of problems when I was, captain of a team as I do fucking running events. Like same issues come up when it comes to money, trying to find new ways to bring something in, or like, Jesus, we set up a team PayPal account. I created an email for it and everything.
Right.
Everybody paid like $5 a week. It's like $20 a month. I think we can all manage this, right?
Right.
And it was great because we started in the off season, and then the first event, it was already paid for. Like no one had to take any money out of their pocket unless it was for like our hotel or Airbnb. But the event for it itself was already paid for.
Yeah.
So any of y'all listen and write some fucking notes down. But
that's actually not a bad idea. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're welcome, airsoft community. But it's stuff like that. It's like little money management things, or Murder Inc. Pat on the back. They just release some like team patches and whatnot, and put them up for sale on a website. Like even if you're playing well, I don't know if there's any patches left. I gotta hit them up, but if there is, I'm gonna get one myself. I don't play for them,
Yeah.
but I do want to support them.
Right.
There's
Right.
people that want to support your team. Let them support your team. If that's patches or T-shirts or a sticker or whatever it may be, like by all means,
Yeah. A little can
do
go
it.
a long way for sure. People just got to get creative and just kind of, just try to see what else they can help provide the funding with.
Yeah.
And not be so reliant on sponsors. And I think that's another thing too, because of how we're barely scratching the surface with sponsors and everything. There was no contracts. It was all based on verbal agreements.
Yeah.
And I've had a contract with Blowback Masters for a long time, but I mean it was just casual. We're not like doing anything insanely crazy where he's paying me monthly or anything. No, it's just like, hey, I got this new thing. Just review it. I'm like, all right, bet. I got you, Ben. You're the best. I love him because he's been with me since day one. So like we're just kind of chill like that. But yeah, I think newer players that are coming onto the scene, I feel like there's just this weird idea that, hey, you got a sponsor, you're the shit, you're gonna get paid. It's not the case.
Not.
No.
It's not. Don't spread this misinformation. Don't lie to these children.
No.
Okay, please. We need
Lord,
them.
oh Lord.
we need them.
Oh my God.
Crazy, bro. It's crazy.
It's
Like,
I don't know. It's like looking at the scene. I've seen, because we're old heads, I guess.
yeah.
I've seen a lot of younger players. They come and go. More notably, what was that one team with Shorty from last year? They put together the HTK Elite Airsoft. They dominated. I felt like they dominated the scene all last year. Crazy young guys just coming out of the woodwork, coming together, and their supportive ass fucking dad. Holy shit, that guy's cool, Pops.
Yeah.
He's just driving them all out to these events, playing each and every one of them, and they all win. And I think he plays with them occasionally, or he was consistent. But from my understanding, they broke off because like life, kind of gets in the way. They're still young. Some of them got to go to school, and some of them got to take care of themselves or whatever that might be. And then all is just left are the old farts like us, and we're just out here.
Yeah, but we still kicking it.
We're still. Oh my back. Was the Ben gay?
Nah, for real. Oh my God. If you want an actual laugh, go back to the NSL event at Extreme and like the very last one they did, and watch me play. Because whenever I get hit, I am struggling to get back up and get off the field.
Oh, Jesus.
It's actually quite funny.
Are you are you working out, or are you just?
Nah, man, I'm fucking old. I got dad bod. I gotta go to work. I got a kid. Nah, like I really don't. It's I got a lot going on.
Yeah,
that's the short version of it.
No, understand.
But I work with kids too, so I'm fairly quote unquote active. Like,
right,
I can go to work and play basketball. I can go to work and play soccer. Or if I choose, I'll just play Smash for an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And not get the exercise. But I try to.
Right. Yeah.
I try to get out and run around a little bit with them. But I'm burnt. I'm up. I got my daughter with me for the first 2 hours. I go to work for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Come home. And then I still have my daughter. It's not like she went anywhere. So that sounds like really bad too. I don't mean it that way. I love my daughter, but like it never ends.
Right.
It never ends.
Right. As an adult, I think a lot of people could probably relate in our age range, whether they have kids or not, and they're just trying to make it work. Especially, with how expensive everything is, they got to just maintain a routine to sustain themselves. And, like airsoft's cool. You like it. You have the hype for it within the first, like few years or whatever. And then it's just like, all right, I need to take a step back. I always tell my friends, it's like, I like speed nights or whatever in moderation. I don't want to go out to the field every time and someone's arguing with somebody else, or maybe someone's just like getting too sweaty and my old ass can't hack it anymore or whatever. And that was another thing too. Like I was like 215 pounds, dude. Like I had to lose weight. I lost like 20 pounds so far. I'm still working on it, but yeah.
AJ the big bag.
Dude,
Watch out.
yeah, I know, dude. I'm watching some of my earlier videos, especially like carbon build that I did for AirTag.
Yeah.
God damn, I was fucking fat. No, but I think that's just It's just a lot. It's just a lot. We try to maintain what we can.
Yeah. It's just a different learning curve.
Yeah,
You know,
that's all it is. We go
like
to process.
I will use my superior knowledge and tactical skills instead of my physical ability.
There you go. Yeah,
Um,
work smarter, not harder, as they say.
literally, literally.
Mm. All right.
Yeah. No,
Looks like
man.
we're already at our hour. I'm gonna keep it going for like another several minutes here. But is there
Sure.
anything else you want to mention that we haven't gotten to?
Anything I want to mention? Yeah, man. Stop being bitches.
Dude,
um,
dude, I know it's okay. So like okay. There's a video I have to show you later. I don't know if I've ever seen it or shown it to you. Forced trades, dude. What do you think of
Yeah.
that? What is up with that?
it's kind of crazy. Like, I mean, we got a taste of it when we were in Texas,
For real.
and yeah, I mean, it's like it was not what was going on in California. I'll tell you that shit.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
if you're getting hit and then you're running around to hit the dude, like, nah, bro, that's not okay.
Mm,
You can't be doing that. Like, I get it. If you're running down and like you both are shooting each other several times, making sure that person goes out, like, whatever, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like, get bunkered or bunker them, whatever the fuck it may be. But nah, like, just not calling a hit and then going back to, like you said, to force a trade. No,
yeah.
get
dude.
out of here. Get out of
Oh my
here.
god. There's a video. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I gotta send it to you at some point. It's at Project N1, and
It's you showed it on the last one, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
I
the one.
watched it. I was
Oh
flabbergasted.
my god, dude! Oh my god! I don't know. And that's been happening apparently consistently down there.
That's
I guess the
crazy.
most recent event that happened 2 or 3 weeks ago is just crazy nonsense, just going back and forth. And I've seen players just arguing on Instagram reels. You know, like when people post their stuff, like, "Yeah, I got this dude. I
Yeah.
got this dude. No call, no what, shrugging, whatever." And people crashing out in the comments like, "Nah, bro, I got you first." Da 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 da. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't be like that if you didn't force a trade. And like, I didn't force, just fucking wow,
Mhm.
crazy.
So, like, with having footage, right?
Right.
Number one, if you're rocking a GoPro, I don't care your footage isn't good. Because half the time you can't actually see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel like what you need to do is take your footage and then put somebody on blast on Instagram about cheating this, cheating that, you're only doing you and us a disservice. Right? Like, don't get me wrong, hold people accountable.
Right.
Like, send that footage to them. If they are on a team, send that shit to their captain and be like, I just want you to know this is what your player's doing. Right. Let them handle that internally. If they don't do anything, now you know where they stand. If they do, great. That's what we need.
Yeah.
But posting that shit online does nothing but create a more toxic environment for everyone, and it makes people not want to go to those types of events, and it sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, that happened with us 2 years ago. There's actually a video I'll send you. It was a whole ass speech, but calling everybody out was like, stop being fucking petty.
Yeah.
That's it. Stop being petty.
Yes.
And I apologize if I'm cussing a lot. I don't get to do it at work or in normal life, so I got to do it now.
No, you're good.
But yeah, like, don't be petty.
So and that's like, that's definitely understandable. I can see that for real, because it's exhausting. Like, why are you gonna put that much energy into that when you could just put it into kind of correcting or talking with people and just being a normal person, just kind of helping provide solutions and just having that discourse. I did notice that Valiant posted a video recently which kind of caught my attention. I don't watch Valiant as much. I know Eddie watches my streams sometimes. I know that. But there's a particular team in the West Coast that I know everybody knows. I'm not going to call it by name, but everyone knows who they are because of how they act on the field. I don't play with them too often, but I can kind of get the idea based on their behavior. And Eddie posted a video recently. He didn't call the team out at all, but just the way they've been acting at all these events. Eddie finally had enough of it, posted it, and he's like, all right, this is what we got to watch out for. This is what I kind of deal with. And it's just that one team in particular, right? I don't know if you've seen it.
Yep. Nope. Now that you're talking about it. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm here.
So it was weird because when I went to the October championships last year, I was like, hey, what's up, everyone? Everyone's chill, vibing, whatever. And then everyone tells me, like, oh, shit, this team's here. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, you didn't know? I'm like, yeah, I know them, but like, what? And they told me all these things that occurred at the last few events. I'm like, oh, shit. And then when we finally start playing, I'm like, oh, I see. So it's, you know, and then their behavior never changes. It's always the same. It's just the necessity to want to win for them.
Yeah.
Right. So they can do whatever they want, and whether it's penalties or whatever, they are still doing the same thing regardless, which is crazy.
It is.
And it's. I'm not here to say that it happens all the time. It's too few and far between. But Sparky, what are you doing? Sorry, my dog is. Anyways, yeah, but it's too few and far in between. But yeah, I think we need to start doing a little bit more accountability, in some regard. And even like, you know, just like when a murderer is on TV, we gotta ignore them. I feel like we can't just give them that attention.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's gonna be cheaters. There's gonna be all these people, you know, acting up or whatever. But we need to really just take a step back. Is it really worth, you know, calling them out? Like, just let it sort itself out with the refs or the organizers or whatever, and I don't know, do whatever you got to do. God damn, Sparky, what are you doing? Sorry, he's just like going through the trash or something. I don't know. But yeah, yeah.
There is one more thing.
What?
There's one more thing, and a few people actually touched on it in the chat too. If you want to see the competitive scene grow, you need to not only support your local fields that have, you know, a tournament layout, but you need to also support the organizers. And, you know, if you're experiencing it right now, AJ, you know, if people aren't coming to the events, that's just going to die.
Yeah.
And it hurts the field a lot because they've already blocked off that time for an event.
Yeah.
You know, they're expecting to do X, Y, and Z. They may have ordered more or in surplus BBs, batteries, whatever it may be, other consumables. So that way people can come in and have them for the event. And now they are in the hole for that, right?
Right.
So it's a huge detriment, a huge detriment.
And that's the thing too. It's kind of hard because like you try, and I know some people are at, you know, like Sac County are trying and they're doing their best. But like I got word earlier today, actually, SpeedQB might just focus on just being in SoCal for next season. Whether that's low player base, not just from our area in NorCal, but from other areas in the country. I think their focus is going to be mainly SoCal. And I think that's probably what's unfortunately going to have to happen.
What I would like to see from SpeedQB is for them to get back to the roots and see them do more community-based events and not tournaments in general.
Yeah.
You know, they had a ton of success when they were doing, you know, like the drop-in days at SS or CIA, even coming up to Extreme. I mean, I can't speak on, you know, their behalf out there because I never saw it, but having more community-based things where it is that laid-back, chill vibe, like it doesn't really matter what's going on, have it be less toxic in general, don't have any fucking prizes, do raffles, all that shit, you know. I think that'll help a lot. And I think that's what they're really, really good at. I think Roy has a different type of energy and vibe about him when those types of events are going on. And I appreciate him for doing those.
Yeah, I can definitely see the vibe he's going with and the sense of community that he brings. And then occasionally it'll be kind of like dwindled down to the players who are just ruining it or whatever. But ultimately the people who last are the ones that matter. and those are the ones that are still hanging around, still kicking it or whatever.
Yeah.
Last year we got to hang out at Fab's house, and Roy
No
invited,
word.
Roy invited all the teams. The Puerto Rican team that came by, invited them, and it was just like everyone was just chilling. Everyone was vibing. Everything was left on the field. Everything was just great. And I think that's what it really was about. It reminded me back when I went to Extreme Airsoft. What was it? Yeah, in Rhode Island. It was great. And that's all it comes down to. Everyone's just chilling, eating, drinking. It was great. Yeah, I don't know. It's there's a lot we have to work on, and I think we just got to take baby steps. Just
For sure.
just baby steps. Because social media kind of also enables people to try to chase clout, right? So you got teams that are like, I'm the fucking best. I'm getting this 2-piece, this 3-piece. No, look, I shot this dude in the head. Oh no, I jumped on this barrier and I got this dude. Oh no, wait, this guy's not calling. Whatever it might be. And it was just, we have to try. I don't know, man. There's just so many things, so many factors. Because then you get some of these teams that join and then they leave, like after a season or whatever. And then you get a new team, and then we just have to try to work with one another.
Yeah.
I think that's. Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Everything is gonna be positive. We're gonna do this right. We're gonna be happy.
Yo, I tell you what, like, I know this year kind of sucked all around, but I'm pretty confident that next year is going to be a really big rebound. I really do.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just a feeling, but I think next year is going to be a really big rebound, and I'm hoping everyone is along for the ride.
Oh, hell yeah.
Whether you are new or experienced, like, get out to any event. I'm not even just talking about CSL.
Yeah.
Go play SPQB, go play NSL,
anything.
Whatever it may be. Fuck it. If you want to go play a Milsim event, you go your happy ass and play Soldier.
Yeah,
okay?
You
go do that.
You go play with Jet Desert at Fox or whatever you got to do. Just do your thing. God.
Yeah.
It's good. Like I said, it's just in moderation. Just, take a fucking break. Go take a timeout. Go play some Milsim events. Go over there. Do that thing.
I mean, shit, that's what I'm doing this year.
Hell yeah.
Like, I played a few little mini Milsim events. I'm having a blast,
dude. That's what I'm saying.
I'm having a ton of fun.
Changing up the gear, changing up the loadout. It's the best feeling in the world, dude. And I didn't know what an MTW was until I went to Battle for LA, and my friend's like, "You gotta get one." I'm like, "Oh shit, that's sick!" And I got one. I built it up out of the Article 1, and I was just having a happy ass time. That was it. That's all it comes down to, man.
Yeah.
Damn. It's just so much in so little time. I'm going to talk to you a little bit after this, but thank you again, Keegan, for coming on. We're already at an hour and 13. God damn. This is a really good podcast. I really do appreciate you. Anything else you got to say for the people out there?
Not that I should say. Just enjoy yourselves. Just enjoy yourselves, man. Just have a good night.
Good night, everybody. And remember, we're just grown ass men. So I'm just like slurring my words after this plenty. Grown ass man playing with toy guns. Have fun, everyone. Take care. Message Keegan if you have any questions about the CSL, or message me if you have any random questions or whatever. I'll do it.